says a man in his early 20s carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel can entered a restricted area around Trump's Palm Beach, Florida home early this morning before he was shot and killed by authorities. I want to bring in...
Yeah, we got another Trump attempter, and then after this, we'll go to Mexico.
CNN's Julia Benbrook. She's at the White House. So, Julia, how is the president's team responding to this?
Yeah, the most important thing to note here is that President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, they were here at the White House at the time of this incident, but they travel often to their Mar-a-Lago estate. In fact, the president has been there almost every weekend in recent weeks. During a press briefing that took place earlier today, the Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, standing with representatives from the FBI and Secret Service, he detailed what they know now. He said that a man around 1:30 in the morning made it into the perimeter at Mar-a-Lago, and that a deputy and 2 Secret Service agents on the detail went to investigate. Take a listen.
They confronted a white male that was carrying a gas can and a shotgun. He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat. He is deceased at the scene.
Authorities have said that this man was in his early 20s and from North Carolina. He was reported missing recently by a family member. Now, the sheriff did say that his deputies are always wearing body cameras, and so we could see some of that footage in the future there. But the FBI is the lead agency on this. They will be responsible for handling any questions.
Oh, the FBI's on it? Great. We're not getting no answers on this, okay? Oh, man, they got the best guys on the job, buddy. Okay, great. I trust them. Famously trustworthy FBI, especially as of late.
We did hear from FBI Director Kash Patel a little while ago. He posted on social media.
Oh, you mean when he was partying with the hockey team? Because he's in Italy right now. He's not on it at all. We know he's not on it. That motherfucker is in Italy. So extra cooked.
He said, quote, the FBI is dedicating all necessary resources in the investigation of this morning's incident at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago, where an armed individual was shot and...
Oh, he posted this from the locker room. For guests seeing his girlfriend sing at a wrestling match. Now FBI Director Kash Patel took the FBI to the party in Italy with the Olympic team.
Let's go!
Dude, clown ass. Dude, can you imagine? Dude, this kind of stuff, this kind of optics related shit is literally catnip for Republicans. Like, can you imagine a world where like the Democratic administration's appointed FBI director, who is like very clearly not supposed to be there, but only was appointed because of their like loyalist position, and they're out fucking partying. They're out partying when the FBI's approvals have diminished to historic levels because of their transparent incompetence. And there's a separate saga around how much this motherfucker is using the FBI and government resources to fly his ass around, fly his girlfriend around, and he just flies in the middle of this situation. He fucking flew to Italy to watch the fucking American hockey team. Get out of here, dude. I know there isn't much to say about like, oh, imagine a Democrat doing this, because like, let's be real, this is just the world we live in where Republicans do whatever the fuck they want. But oh my God, dude, he took the fucking PJ out to Italy. See you in Valhalla, brother. Yeah.
Killed after unlawfully entering the perimeter. We will continue working closely with Secret Service as well as state and federal partners.
FBI flying bitches to Italy.
And will provide updates as we are able. They are currently processing the scene and analyzing any evidence. They've also...
Say you're Trump. Do you take no pause at the fact that multiple random 20-year-olds have tried to kill you? What's going on? All these white 20-year-olds, they're all woke.
Also asked people in the area that if they have any doorbell camera footage that does seem suspicious, could be related to this, that they should contact authorities.
All right. Thank you, Julia. Still a lot of questions at this point. I want to bring in CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller. You've been talking to your sources here. What does this investigation look like at this point?
Well, what they're trying to do, Omar, is to backtrack through the last 24 hours or more since this individual was reported missing. He's a 22-year-old man from the area of Cameron, North Carolina, and it appears he drove there to Mar-a-Lago. One of the things that was found in the vehicle, his Volkswagen SUV, was the box for the shotgun. So investigators believe that he left his North Carolina home, stopped along the way perhaps, and purchased that shotgun.
Yeah. Nothing to learn here about the ease of access for weapons, by the way. That's not a thing. Like, you can just casually stroll to a shop, purchase a goddamn weapon, and then try to assassinate the American president.
And the gasoline, and then drove to Mar-a-Lago. One of the questions...
Ryan Ruth was in his early 20s. I mean, we're not talking about Ryan Ruth. He's just one of the guys, right? Ryan Ruth is unique for many different reasons. He's a unique advocate.
Is how did he get into that perimeter? It appears that as an employee was leaving and opened the gate to walk out, he caught the gate and walked in. He made it about 20 to 30 yards before he was confronted in that perimeter by 2 Secret Service agents and a deputy Palm Beach County sheriff. And as the sheriff said, according to their report, and the deputy does have body camera, as he was ordered to put down the shotgun and the gas can, he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun into a firing position, and all 3, both agents and the deputy, fired, killing him.
Do we know if the shotgun was loaded? I mean, obviously pointing a weapon at law enforcement, it prompts the reaction that they had here. But just on the back end of this, do we know if that shotgun was...
You know, it's a good question, Omar, because as you point out, there's no way that those law enforcement officers would have known by seeing the shotgun whether it was loaded when it was pointed at them. But the question goes directly to what was his intent of going into that perimeter. Did he know that President Trump wasn't there and was at the White House? Was his specific intent suicide by cop, which we've seen in a number of these incidences where people cause the police because of their own depression, mental health issues, whatever it is, to take their lives. Whether or not that shotgun is loaded will give us a better indicator of that when we find that information out from the FBI. But right now, I don't know the answer to that, but it's a good question.
Yeah, a lot of questions still in this early stages of the investigation. John Miller, appreciate the time, as always.
Would this person...
All right, I'm fucking bored of this story already. Like, I know this is a big story or whatever, but it's increasingly becoming a fucking dog bites man rather than a man bites dog situation, if you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, Donald Trump, I think, is just gonna constantly be in a state of panic around like a bunch of white guys with access to an arsenal of weapons. It's just how it is. I mean, it's just America, you know? What am I supposed to say? You know, do fucking gun control. I don't know. Maybe it's because of Trump's approval ratings, because of the Dow. Because the Dow's under 50,000.
Your political
so
course.
people are reminded that Trump is a pedophile protector.
Bonnet, Rachel, because we have a new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll, but it shows some real challenges for President Trump.
Yeah, and of course, all of this coming ahead of Tuesday's State of the Union address. Our new poll out today shows the president's approval rating stands at just 39%. That means 60% of Americans disapprove of the president's job currently in office right now. His approval ratings have not been this low since after the January 6th Capitol riot. And fueling all of this, of course, is how Americans are feeling on key issues. So when asked if Americans approve or disapprove of the way the president is handling certain topics, only 41% approving of his handling of the economy, a key issue that he ran on. And about 40% of Americans say they support the president on immigration, but the majority...
That's still too high? Yes. I think a part of the reason why that's still too fucking high is because there's not really an alternative out there that's compelling for a lot of people who won't leave the fucking cult. It's because Democrats are not doing a good enough job saying, like, this is why everything still sucks. Like, these guys presented a different vision for how your life was going to change for the better, and they haven't fucking fulfilled that promise at all. There's a really interesting dynamic in this survey. Immigration is the one key place where opinions on the issues have moved to the left over the past year, but the GOP still wins on it. Meanwhile, opinions on trans issues are as right-wing as ever, but D's win massively on the issue. Democrats have not had a reliable, consistent counter narrative on immigration. They just haven't. They're still operating on like pre-election cycle fears of the 66% of Americans wanted mass deportations. They're still like, oh, Joe Biden really fucked up on immigration. I mean, even Bernie Sanders himself has had a shitty message on this, like a center-right message on this. They don't understand that, like, most people are easily moved on this issue when you talk to them in simple terms. These guys, this is a nation of immigrants. These guys are your fucking neighbors. What we're doing is cruel. And what we must do is, what is this? Irrelevant, but you didn't fall off, King. A lot of your viewers are also still on YouTube. Just finished watching the hazing short from yesterday. And a dumper comment that you fell off from 350K viewers. Also, this is wonderful shit. Thank you, chatter. I don't think I fell off. I'm I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. The 350K was botted into oblivion. Anyway, but that's a real issue, right? Like, they don't have a consistent, clear, coherent agenda on the issue of immigration. Some of the establishment Democrats run around and still say stuff like, no, we have to be more reasonable about immigration. We have to reform ICE. We have to do this. We have to do that. This is the problem. Democrats, even when they're winning on an issue, are still running scared. They're still running scared, and therefore, they can't come up with a comprehensive agenda where it's like, we have to make sure that people understand that the real problem with immigration is the processing, okay, is the paperwork. We're not expeditiously offering paperwork to these people that have been here for 10 plus years. It's completely ridiculous. And that is the major problem. And that's why Kamala Harris lost.
In your new book, Young Man in a Hurry, you're really explicit in trying to confront the perception that you are, and I'm quoting here, a privileged prince. Because your grandfather and your father, they had a lot of activity in politics and business in San Francisco. They were especially close to the Getty family, as are you. You describe in detail the split personality, that's what you call it, of your childhood, because your parents divorced when you were young and you had that privileged existence with your dad, and then you went back home with your mom, who had to work 3 jobs to keep things afloat.
Yeah, 19 when she was pregnant with me. She had 2 kids. A father, which I discovered only through the process of researching his life and writing this book, had a breakdown. Ran for county supervisor in San Francisco, lost, ran for state senate, lost both races, was broke, and said he had a breakdown that required him just to leave. And he just took off to Lake Tahoe, Truckee area. And that was it. We saw him episodically when we were growing up. He was there every 3 or 4 weekends, maybe a week or so every summer, and came back into our lives much later. But it was my mom, hard work, grit, never complained, explained, came from no wealth, single, bedroom, and she just made ends meet, made things work, and gave me the grit and gave me a work ethic that's frankly allowed me to survive in politics this many years.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that grit. You talk about your mom giving you that grit and your dad teaching you other things like the love of the outdoors and poetry. But it really is striking to me how distant you describe, and you're really detailed and pretty raw about how distant you felt from both of your parents, and especially your mom. You call her.
Oh, God. I mean, is this... Why does it feel inauthentic? Because it's Gavin Newsom. He's the most like manicured candidate out there. He literally looks the part. He looks like he would be president in a fucking straight to DVD release movie. Like he moves in that way. Remember in 2020 when people said they were going to swap out Biden with Cuomo? Oh my God. Just wait, it gets worse. Oh, God. I don't want to watch pornography, Hassan. Okay, well, you're going to watch it.
To you.
Yeah, look, I mean, the title has meaning, young man in a hurry. I've been in a hurry. I've been always trying to chase something. I put a mask on and my face was growing into it. I was becoming, I wasn't becoming myself. It was the biggest fear my mom had of me getting into politics. She never wanted me to go into politics, which I never understood until I learned in the process of writing this. That was the reason for their divorce. She never explained that. They never talked about that when I grew up. I lost my mom almost 20 years ago to breast cancer. And I was hustling back then. I was a small business person. I had opened a number of small businesses, restaurants and hotel, a small little winery. I was a county supervisor. I was thinking about running for mayor. She was getting sick and sicker, and I was distant.
He's like, I was a small business.
And
yeah, we've upgraded the messaging from my mother was a small business under Kamala Harris to I was a small business.
And she called. She left a voicemail. It's in the book.
I am a small business.
How about getting this voicemail? Literally, hi, it's your mom. Next week, I'll be taking my own life. If you want to visit me, I would encourage you to do so before next Thursday. That was literally the I still have the voicemail. I kept it. And it was a big wake-up call. And I realized how selfish and self-absorbed I was.
Bro, if you're Gavin Newsom, you probably shouldn't reveal that information because it only confirms people's priors about how, like, sociopathic you sound and look, for the record. It's crazy. Oh, my God. I mean, look, this is now we're just on the vibes aspect. We've moved way past, like, We've moved way past the policy side of things. We're just looking into his background and the way he's communicating and the way he presents himself. I'll be honest with you. Like, maybe I'm too harsh on Gavin. Big Gavy Gav. But I don't think people are going to look at this and be like, well, this guy's a sincere guy. It just kind of makes him look like Patrick Bateman.
And I started spending time with her, but it was too late. She already made the decision. The cancer metastasized. She was in so much pain. And I had the privilege and the burden, the worst experience, and in hindsight, the most blessed experience I've ever had, and that was being there for her when she took her last breath. My sister and I there at her assisted suicide with a brave doctor. It was against the law. And it was a brave doctor who was willing to help her and take her out of her misery, and was there for that last moment.
Oh my God. It, like, again, how does this read to a self-declared apolitical voter in fucking Missouri, Kentucky, Pennsylvania? Just like I don't want to be ruthless here. Once again, I'm trying to read this as charitably as possible. But like this is a really devastating experience. Pretty raw though, no? I think those voters like that. No, this is supposed to be like a very emotional moment. Okay? But the way he's talking about it is so one note, if that makes sense. Like it comes across like it's robotic. Anyway, I know the New York Times is saying Trump is leaning in. Breaking news: New York Times citing Trump advises the president is leaning towards launching a strike within days to demonstrate the necessity of Iran abandoning its pursuit of nuclear weapons. We're going to talk about that right now, and then I'll get to Mexico. The reason The reason why it's in a couple days is because it's probably going to be after State of the Union. I don't know if they'll do it before the State of the Union. You know what I mean?
Over a possible U.S. strike on Iran, there have been renewed protests in the country. A few hundred protesters were seen in the capital, Tehran, after a bloody crackdown that left thousands dead just weeks ago. The demonstrations erupting as President Trump confirms he is considering a limited strike on Iran to try to force it to agree to a nuclear deal. But Iran remains defiant, while insisting it wants a peaceful resolution. It's also warning it will retaliate against U.S. bases and assets in the region if it's attacked. President Trump has given Iran an ultimatum to agree to some kind of nuclear deal within the next 2 weeks, warning, quote, really bad things will happen if it doesn't. A massive U.S. military force now deployed in the region. Satellite images show the USS Gerald Ford sailing into the Mediterranean. It's going to join another U.S. aircraft carrier, more than 100 cargo planes, fueling tankers and fighter jets that have been sent there. All told, there are now around 35,000 U.S. troops in the region, the U.S. demanding an end to Iran's nuclear program, a curb on its ballistic missiles, and an end to Iran's support for proxy groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon. For now, though, the diplomatic track is still technically on, but there are really growing concerns that unless Iran makes major concessions on its nuclear program, then an attack by the U.S. might become unavoidable. Janae?
The region certainly on edge. Ian, panel, our thanks to you.
We turn now to the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. has assembled what is, by some measures, the biggest military buildup in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, as the world's largest warship also heads towards the region. But President Trump has said he'd prefer a diplomatic deal with Iran. For the latest, we go now to Tehran and the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Well, thank you, Margaret. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
So do you believe President Trump plans to strike Iran, or is he using this threat as leverage?
Well, I'm not, I cannot judge, but one fact is there that if they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution which is based on a win-win game, and a solution is at our reach. So there is no need for any military buildup, and military buildup cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
Well, you said on Friday that you would have a draft proposal within 2 to 3 days. Have you gotten the Supreme Leader to sign off on that proposal yet? And if so, when will you give it to Envoy Steve Witkoff?
Well, we are still working on that, and we are trying to make it something which consists of elements which can accommodate both sides' concerns and interests. And we are working on those elements. And I believe that when we meet, probably this Thursday in Geneva again, we can work on those elements and prepare a good text and come to a fast deal. This is my understanding. I see it quite possible.
So you have confirmed a meeting with Steve Witkoff.
You are the same people who supposedly care about Palestine. Brother, sister, don't worry. America is going to fucking destroy Iran regardless, okay? No matter what we say, America is going to bomb Iran regardless. You will get your wishes, okay? America will kill your family members. Don't worry. I know you're desperate for it, okay? I know. It's going to happen. Fear not. And they will present it as though they're liberating your country. Don't worry about that either. Stop chirping.
Thursday in Geneva, but your leadership has still not signed off on the proposal. Is that right?
But these are two separate things. Of course, we continue our negotiation. At the same time, we are working on the elements of a deal and a draft of the text. So I hope that when we get there, we are prepared to talk and negotiate on those drafts.
Well, let me ask you this. You helped negotiate that 2015 nuclear deal under the Obama administration. How would this
Yes.
deal with Trump be different than that one?
Well, 10 years have passed, and there is a new situation. Our nuclear program has advanced technologically, more advanced at that time, and there are, of course, more sanctions and more pressures. So I believe that a better deal than JCPOA or 2015 nuclear deal is possible, and there are elements that could be much better than the previous deal.
Like what?
I have the experience. I have the experience of that deal, as you said. I negotiated that deal. We went into so many details, but I think right now there is no need for that much details. We can agree on basic things, and we can make sure that Iran's nuclear program, is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever.
Someone in the chat said, how will Trump sell this to his base since he ran on no new wars? I don't know, when you say Iran is brutal, it automatically means the war is justified. Okay. Right now, what do you think? Right now, who do you think is going to kill more people? The Iranian government that has already killed the protesters, or an American bombing campaign in Iran? What do you think is going to lead to more instability? Obviously the war. Okay. So why are you yelling at me? Every time you say the regime kills people, everyone says you want war. The reason why people are saying that to you is because unfortunately, that is the reason that Trump is using. That's the casus belli that Trump is using to bomb Iran. So if you recognize that the bigger problem here now, at least in the interim, is America bombing Iran, understand why the coverage focuses on America bombing Iran. Because right now, when Israel was conducting its genocide in Gaza, one of the common points of argumentation initially was they were liberating Gaza from Hamas. That Hamas was responsible for not only horrifying acts of terrorism and mass rape in Israel, but also that Hamas was brutal to its own citizens. That Israel was somehow doing a favor. Israel was somehow doing a favor to the Palestinians with their bombing campaign.
And at the same time, more sanctions would be lifted.
Well, just very quickly, you're talking about nuclear. You are offering a nuclear-only deal at this stage because Secretary Rubio said anything meaningful would also have to involve ballistic missiles and your support for proxies in the region.
Well, right now we are negotiating only nuclear, and there is no other subjects.
Okay. Would you be willing to allow weapons inspectors unfettered access to your nuclear sites and for American inspectors to be among them?
Well, we are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we have a safeguard agreement with the agency, International Atomic Energy Agency, and we are ready to cooperate with the agency in full according to the safeguard, and we may accept with certain conditions the additional protocol to the safeguard to the NPT, and I think a full verification mechanism, full monitoring mechanism is acceptable and can be in place.
Okay, so you continue to say that your nuclear program is peaceful, and you know there are a lot of skeptics around the world, including in the United States Congress. There's pressure on President Trump from within his own party. There were 52 Republican senators, 177 House Republicans who have called on President Trump to demand zero enrichment and full dismantlement of your nuclear program. Why should President Trump consider allowing Iran to have even the smallest bit of enrichment?
Well, first of all, enrichment is our right. We are a member of NPT, and we have every right to enjoy a peaceful nuclear energy, including enrichment. How we use this right is something related to us only. The enrichment is a sensitive part of our negotiation. The American team know about, they knows our position, we knows their position, and we have already exchanged our concerns. And I think a solution is achievable, but I'm not going to negotiate through media.
No, I understand, but we have seen very public statements from the president that he said no enrichment, and that's a red line. But when you say it's your right, okay, but you could get enriched uranium and buy it from someplace else. You know this. You've done this. Is demanding the right to enrich on Iranian soil really worth the risk right now? You're facing the potential destruction of your country and the regime based on the kind.
Dude, America is a crazy. We are. Oh my God. Hating the IRGC and Ayatollah aside, hating the Islamic Republic aside, if you are Persian, Iranian, how do you fucking hear the CBS Face the Nation lady talk to this person this way? Like, I do not like the Turkish government. It is not a secret. I can't go back to Turkey. But if Recep Tayyip Erdogan was sitting there talking about Turkish sovereignty and the CBS Face the Nation lady talked this way, I would lose my fucking mind. I'd be waving the Turkish flag around. Like, how does this not activate something primal in your brain where you're like, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean, like, we're doing gunboat diplomacy? We're just, America can get their wishes across no matter what because the alternative is death and destruction? Fuck you. How about fuck yourself? It's just crazy to be like, how dare you threaten American forces that just happen to be encircling your country, that have hit your country already, that say they're going to do it again. It's mind-boggling. The fucking audacity, man. Only America gets to do whatever the fuck it wants. All right, let's get to Mexico.
Breaking news out of Mexico. Canadians in Puerto Vallarta are being ordered to shelter in place as violence escalates in the region. This comes after reports from the Associated Press saying that the Mexican army killed El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Ottawa is warning Canadians in Jalisco State, including Puerto Vallarta, that criminal groups have set up roadblocks with burning vehicles in the area. Here's a look at the advisory on the Global Affairs website. It says, in part, that there have been shootouts with security forces and explosions, adding that all taxi and rideshare services have been suspended until further notice. It goes on to tell people in the state to keep a low profile, monitor local and international media to stay informed, and follow the advice of local authorities. And multiple airlines, including Air Canada, have canceled flights into the Puerto Vallarta airport.
Hotels are not changing their pricing, charging people for staying past checkout, not giving room extensions unless it jacked up rates law, mostly Marriott and Hilton. That's crazy. Never let a crisis go to waste, dude. Holy fuck. It seems to be more relaxed here in Guadalajara at the moment. My family's in parts of Mexico that are being affected. It's fucking scary. These goons are literally running around cities with guns and causing chaos. Yeah, I mean, they're doing terrorism. That's what fucking cartels do. When they don't get their, when they feel like they're threatened, that's what they do. That's what they have the capability of doing. And they're armed to the fucking teeth by the American government sometimes, or at least like the American arsenal and gun manufacturers. So...
Вон видно какие-то очаги возгорания. Но первое началось он там оттуда, с гор где-то. Прям повалил густой дым такой. Здесь все еще...
Bro, imagine. Bro left Russia, came to Puerto Vallarta, is like, come on. He's like, I mean, what is this? I leave Moscow because they do drone strike. I come to Mexico. I think this is tropical vacation. Now their bomb exploding. What the fuck? Сука, блядь.
Валит дым. Хлопки какие-то ебашат. Что-то они там, видимо, взрывают. Вон, вижу, еще новый дым появился. Откуда это? Прям с Маликона, что ли? Хуй знает. А, вон еще, кстати... появился дым. Ну, что-то, короче, какие-то, видимо, разборки картеля.
Are weapons a big U.S. export or something? Are you serious? You're joking. I'm okay. That's a joke. Okay, I'm getting baited by someone being sarcastic, right?
Блин, похоже, они тут бои ведут. Вот сейчас здесь вот появился еще один этот. Вот, хлопки постоянно идут. То есть, не знаю, надолго ли они тут собрались это все делать.
Is this killing a response to the liberal criticism that Claudia Sheinbaum is in the pocket of the cartels? No, the liberals are now criticizing Claudia Sheinbaum for fucking killing a cartel head and saying it was a disastrous decision and caused tremendous instability. At least the ones I saw. No, they just fucking hate Claudia Sheinbaum because they hate Claudia Sheinbaum because she's a social democrat. It's literally the same shit. It's the same shit with me. Oh, Hasan, you don't do anything. You don't leave your home. Oh, when you do leave your home, it's still performative. You're doing it for a fucking photo op. It's like, what do you want me to do? Oh, all you do is sit inside and fucking chirp, chirp, chirp. Oh, okay, you went out on the field? Well, you were doing that as a fucking photo op. Fuck you. There are some hogs that are praising her, though. Did not expect Lamau. So there was also some misinformation that came out as well. I retweeted it from the Mexican government that, or not, the misinformation that came out that the Mexican government actually identified. Laura Loomer, CBS News, and numerous other outlets were just like saying that, where is it? They were saying that there was like a coordination with the Americans, right? And Claudia Sheinbaum says the Secretary of National Defense reported on the operation carried out this morning by federal forces, which resulted in various blockades and other reactions. There is absolute coordination with the governments of all states. We must remain informed and calm. The social media account of the Security Cabinet provide permanent updates in the vast majority of national territory. Activities are proceeding with complete normality. My recognition to the Mexican Army, National Guard, Armed Forces, and Security Cabinet. We work every day for peace, security, justice, and the well-being of Mexico. There was also, where is it? The national security. Where's the fucking tweet from the Mexican, not the embassy, but there was a tweet that was like, this is fake. I can't find the fucking tweet that was like calling out the misinformation. Yeah. Oh, here. Mexico's. This is the one I was looking for. Embassy of Mexico in the U.S. This post is false. The military operation in Topalpa, Jalisco, aimed at capturing Ruben and Elias Mencho, was planned and executed by the Mexican Special Forces. The action was carried out within the framework of bilateral cooperation with the U.S. authorities, providing complementary intelligence. Mexican National Guard and Army troops are currently reinforcing security in Jalisco and neighboring states to maintain order. Because Laura Loomer claimed that the U.S. eliminated a top cartel leader in Mexico, Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, has retaliated by storming the Guadalajara airport with armed gunmen. They are now taking the American tourists hostage in nearby hotels and highways. So Laura Loomer is doing fake news across the board internationally. Laura Loomer is not a credible source of news. Yeah, no shit. But yeah, as it stands, basically what ended up happening is they assassinated, well, they tried to arrest El Mencho, who, from what I understand, is one of the biggest cartel leaders in Mexico right now. And Mexico, unfortunately, regardless of the wonderful work that Morena has done, is basically like a narco state, right? Like different territories are owned by different cartels. And she has been working at tackling this problem for a while. And the Morena Party has actually got a lot of support from the population due to all of the expansion of the welfare state, like all the developmentary projects that they're engaging in. And yes, they were the biggest, was the biggest. So the Defense Mexico informs the public that through central military intelligence efforts from the National Intelligence Center and the Attorney General's Office, FEMDO, Special Forces of the Mexican Army planned and executed an operation in Topalpa, Jalisco, in which various aircraft from the Air Force and the National Guard's immediate reaction Special Force intervened to achieve detention of Ruben and Mencho. During this operation, military personnel were attacked, so in defense of their integrity, they repelled the aggression, resulting in 4 members of the CJNG criminal group dead at the scene and 3 seriously injured, who lost their lives during their transfer via air to Mexico City. Among the latter is Ruben N., also known as Mencho. However, the corresponding authorities will handle all expert activities for their identification. In addition to the above, 2 other members of this criminal organization were detained, and various weaponry and armored vehicles were seized, including rocket launchers capable of downing aircraft and destroying armored vehicles. Where do you think they get that from, chat? Us. We, our special forces, our military, okay? That's why we say that a lot of the cartels are either directly or indirectly involved with the American Special Forces, the CIA, the DEA, depending on which cartel you're looking at, okay? We give them these weapons. And they're geared out the fucking wazoo. How did our weapons get to them? What do you mean? UPS, motherfucker. What are you talking about? How do you think drug trafficking and human trafficking works? They traffic drugs and they get, in exchange for the drugs that they send to the United States of America, they get weapons in return. That's the whole ordeal.